Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Also located on the net at goodbackbadback.com. That's goodbackbadback.com.
It is a Monday here on The Exchange. Scott Spears joined by Marianne Michaels, Charlie Evers, Martha Dousman-Nacy, and Shannon O'Neill. Everybody looks really good today. We have the right lighting for a Monday here. It looks perfect. We're going to kick off this Monday with my good pal, Charlie Evers. Fascinating facts. Charlie?
Oh, yeah, I was wondering who that guy was on the right-hand side of the screen. Thanks for...
You look good.
Thanks for telling, yeah. But, I thought this week do something a little different. Things that we could accomplish if there was money.
In Marion or
in Marion.
Oh, right. I like it.
Things. Okay, the one thing that's near and dear to me, of course, is the bike trail. Now, some call it a fitness trail, a wellness trail, but actually, it's going to be a bike trail which will accommodate people in wheelchairs or any, walking. But there are bike trails all over Ohio. I was in Columbus yesterday. I saw bikers everywhere, but not in Marion, because we don't have the money. We've got the bike trail, I don't know how many feet long it is right now, but it's destined to go 12 miles. But I don't know if I'll see that in my lifetime. It's probably going to take another 100 years. We just can't come up with any money. I know it's tough times, but there's a bike trail out of Centerburg that's running to Mount Vernon. It's almost completed, which will make a continuous trail from Centerburg, Ohio, clear up to past Millersburg. But we can't. I don't know what's wrong.
Well, I'm so glad you bring things up like this, Charlie, because, over the weeks on this show, we've talked about a lot of things that aren't getting done in Marion. Obviously, everybody at this table has an association with Marion in some way, and very long time associations. We're not beating up on the town or we'd leave. We'd get out. We'd go do something else. But the truth is that problems can't be ignored, and sometimes you do have to talk about them. Nothing will get done.
Just wish I could go back some years ago. I'd raise some money for this bike trail. I'd get her done.
Well, you're not done yet, Charlie.
Well, I'm getting... Who's that old man I see on the screen there?
No, it's good. You got it left in you.
I bet he's been around a while.
Marianne, words of wisdom for this Monday.
All right, today, if you don't take control of your life, then don't complain when others do.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Who said that? Katharine Hepburn?
No, that was anonymous.
Oh, that was
all the ones this week are going to be anonymous. I don't have any.
I bet Katharine Hepburn said that. She just didn't lend her name to it.
That could be possible.
She was one of those.
Yes.
Darn right.
She was.
Now, one thing I want to mention here at the top of the program, and we've got a very exciting week here this week on The Exchange, so you're going to want to stay tuned each and every episode. We've got some of the most interesting current events this week. We've got some great footage we're going to show, that some of which has never been shown on television before. So you got to stick with us this week because you never can tell what you're going to get at. At the top of the program, though, I do want to make mention of this. This is something new. A few weeks ago, and through the passing of the summer, mentioned on this program that I feel, and maybe it's just me, that Martha Dousman-Nacy should be the Grand Marshal of the Popcorn Parade. There is now a group on Facebook, Make Martha Dousman-Nacy Marion Popcorn Festival Grand Marshal, and I looked at it this morning, and it's got something like 70 members. Now, and it's only been in operation for 3 days, because I checked it, 70 members in 3 days. Now, Popcorn Festival, I'm not angry towards you. I have the highest feeling that you're going to do the right thing. and make that lady, let's just talk about it. 69 years in business in Marion, 7 studios spawned from one that started in Marion, $90,000 for leukemia research, a plaque in Children's Hospital, one of 21 outstanding women in Marion in the 1980s. She named the Popcorn Bowl, and she's been in every popcorn parade and won trophies for it. Why wouldn't you make her, in her 80th year, Grand Marshal of the Popcorn Parade? Needs to happen. People on Facebook feel that way. It's time to cave under the pressure and get it done. Right, Martha?
I'm gonna cry.
He's
No.
your cheerleader, Martha. He is definitely your cheerleader.
Isn't this something?
Yeah.
Well, and let me tell you about this. Speaking of Martha, Martha and I, this past week, went to a pizza shop, and for the first time in her life, Martha Douse made a pizza. And we're going to show that to you on the air as the week goes on. You'll want to stay tuned just for that. Now, another thing I want to do here. Through the years in interviewing, I've gotten to interview a lot of very cool people, but one of the coolest, and certainly one of my favorite because of a connection to Ohio, is Phyllis Diller. Phyllis Diller taped a little commercial for us, and hey, when Phyllis Diller tapes a commercial, you're going to play it. So let's play that commercial with Phyllis Diller right now. Here's Phyllis.
Do you think you're the only one who watches The Exchange? Listen to what legendary comedian and Ohio native Phyllis Diller has to say about moderator Scott Spears and The Exchange.
I've been sitting around here in California, from Ohio, sitting around in Hollywood, wondering when is the international public going to find my friend, the great interviewer, Scott Spears.
Well, Phyllis, we wonder the same thing. You wonder it from Hollywood, I wonder it from here.
Well, I swear, Scott, you see, we are so aware of your great talent because you come up with hundreds of ideas. You are never wanting for an idea. You are prolific. You're always pushing. You're always there. And I thought, now, why hasn't the world found Scott and put him on a pedestal? And, you know, after all, Larry King can't live forever.
Now that's not bad at all. Larry King can't live forever. Remember that. Larry, you're already off television and I'm coming for you. We might play that a little later in the week. You know, somebody told me one time, what do you think of that, Marianne, first of all?
Of what, the commercial?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was excellent. It was neat to see her. I don't know, Shannon, if you know about Phyllis Diller, do you?
I do. She's from Lima.
Yeah.
From Lima.
That's right. Well, I thought you probably did, but she
Tried
was,
that.
she was well, she is the funniest person. I don't think she does any shows anymore, does she, Scott?
No, she retired in her mid-80s.
Yeah. Oh, my heavens, how old is she now?
94.
Oh, my, I never realized that. Well, she sounded great, didn't she?
Oh, she's living out there. She goes out every night, drinks her martinis every day.
And
She's
how
having a
nice,
good
how nice of her to give you the interviews. But I know you've interviewed her many times.
I have. I don't know. Some of those people you just have a good relationship
Yeah.
with, and certainly one of those was Phyllis Diller. Now, another interesting thing happened this last week, and that was in the Marion Star, they had a contest. Favorite radio personality in Marion. And guess who won that contest? Charlie Evers won that contest. You knew about that, didn't you, Charlie?
I knew about it, yes.
Did you know you were entered?
I didn't really know I was entered, no.
What does that say to you that you still in 2011 are voted, and the other two people who placed are still 5 days a week, and you still win the poll?
That's right. It's amazing, isn't it? They take a pity on an old man.
Is that what that is? No, now, Charlie, what made you popular in Marion radio? People know that you were great at what you did. You were employable for a lot of years. What do you think it was that you did that appealed to so many people?
Well, I leaned on people. I didn't neglect the poor. Some of my greatest helpers in my projects were people from the poor end of town, you might say. that really I gave them a chance to really stand out, be in my parades, help me out. And that was one thing, and I recognized people for what they did. And we just had a good time, just like family.
Well, and Evers Arena is here, and of course you have the great tie to Lady Justice on the courthouse, which is just a mile away from the studio here, not even.
Yeah,
certainly,
we can see it right across the street
right across
almost.
the street. Peanut Push.
And my Bike Across Ohio that went for 13 years raised, I think, around $200,000 for cancer. And there again, I had people join in. I didn't have to beg. People that could ride a bicycle joined me, and some of them had to practice and practice because we did over 100 miles a day sometimes. But we highlighted cancer fundraising to people all across Ohio. We raised all the money here in Marion before we left, and then to show people that were willing to really work for it and not just walk around the block, that we struggled, and really we had some bad accidents and this and that. We struggled, but we did it all for cancer.
And of course your obituary will read, creator of Buckeye Chuck.
Here lies another nut.
No, your legacy will be Buckeye Chuck, don't you think?
Oh, it might be, yes.
I mean, I think that'll be the thing people
But,
remember.
I didn't realize Charlie was so self-deprecating.
Oh.
Charlie, you shouldn't be like that.
I have a whole other career that hardly gets mentioned. I'm a colonial reenactor, and I travel around the state of Ohio and even into Michigan doing my log splitting and things like that. That's all I'm known by or as for thousands of people, but not too many here in Marion.
Well, in Marion in 2011, you're still the favorite radio personality, and because of that, hey, here today, we're going to pay tribute to a one-of-a-kind radio personality. There's only one, Charlie Evers. Roll the tape.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful
Hey, how about
Wow.
that? Charlie Evers, the young years.
Yeah, we're really. Hey, I appreciate that. That was all right.
Do you still have that Buckeye Chuck sweatshirt? That was
I think it's somewhere in my archives.
bring that in one day.
Yeah.
I want to see you wear that thing.
Yeah, I think I had a couple of those, yeah.
That's a winner right there. Now, I thought we would take this day, as we're certainly paying tribute to Charlie here, and also talk about the other great broadcasters, Marianne, of which she is one. Here in Marion, because I think sometimes the broadcasting gets left out. One of the things I didn't like was, and it's true that the Marion Star and WMRN, the two oldest, have been competitors. So a lot of times the Star didn't do a paper copy on what was going on at WMRN, and there are so many people that don't know that Rod Serling started at WMRN. So let's talk a little bit about the people who, because Charlie, Marianne, and I all worked at WMRN and have spent time at other places broadcasting, and we're all Marion people in some form or fashion. Martha's been on WMRN countless times over the years and other broadcasting outlets here. Going to give Charlie a break here. Go to Marianne and talk about when you knew Rod Serling worked for WMRN. It always gave me a great mystique, kind of a great pleasure.
Oh my, yes. I mean, I listened to his program every week it was on. What was the name of it?
Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone, yes. And I believe you talked to his wife, or no, Madge talked to his wife, right?
Carol.
Carol.
I talked
and
to
you
Carol
talked to her
also,
too?
yeah.
Yes, and oh yeah, that was neat to know that Rod Serling was one of the WMRN staffers. I mean, you know, you were among them, I was among them,
Yeah.
Charlie was among them, so that's kind of neat.
Well, it makes you feel really good, I think, to know that, well, WMRN was an NBC station when it went on the air. And it also, here's a little trivia for you if you don't know. 1490 since 1940, I used that for a long time. That's actually a lie, because when it went on the air, it was 1500 on the dial.
Oh, was it?
It didn't go to 1490 for about 5 years. But Charlie, good Lord, how long were you at MRN? And then DIF, which is no longer here.
Yeah, I started in '52 at MRN and left in 1980, went to WDIF, was there 10 years, then went back to MRN for 5 years. So that's quite a long time period in broadcasting. I've done a lot of interesting things, flying in balloons, airplanes, broadcasting. Broadcast once from going down Morbid Hill in Lincoln Park.
And we flew with the Ohio National Guard
That's
to
right.
Panama. Remember
Went to
that?
Panama, right. That was, I keep recalling that in my mind.
That was the C-130.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
We had to put things in our
Earplugs.
ears because we couldn't hear.
Oh, so loud,
It
yeah.
was so loud, and that was quite an experience.
That was.
Now, at the time that there were two thriving radio stations here, DIF and MRN, Marianne, you were at MRN then. Charlie, you had left to go to DIF. What was I know you had talked about going into the bushes at MRN for Buckeye Chuck.
Yes.
Wasn't that
Because they weren't observing Buckeye Chuck. You know, it started in 1979, and when I left, no one carried it on. So Ellen Messenger and I would go and take a microphone and recorder with us and go in the woods where he was and do a little thing every year. And then later on, when I went back to MRN, we started in again broadcasting the whole event.
Marianne, you were on the other side of that fence during that time.
Yes.
What was the feeling toward DIF?
Oh, we were competitors, obviously. We were competitors. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, there was no animus. At least there wasn't with me and anybody over there. But, no, we were kind of competitive. You know, we tried to do different things from what they did. And
one of the things that I never said publicly is the fact that when I went to WDIF, I invented the term Brand X for MRN. And that's all, for 10 years, that's all anyone referred to it. Hey, over at Brand X are doing this or doing that.
Well, no, I'm going to let you come in, Marianne, but I just read an article on that note. When Charlie left MRN, did a big article in Newslife. He was on the cover. It was called The Interview, the first, and you did not have the happiest thoughts at that point of WMRN.
No.
They can get that article if they like.
Well, you see, before I had told them I was going to leave, it came out in the newspaper that I was leaving. A lady, I think their social editor at that time, broke the story and shouldn't have. And boy, they called me, MRN called me, said, Evers, get in here right away and bring your key. And they gave me a half hour to round up everything off the walls that I had in my desk. And some of the staff members didn't want to be around me because I was all of a sudden foreign material. But some of the announcers, you know, my buddies, they said, we'll help you gather all your things. So I emptied my desk into a large box, and away I went.
Yeah, rough time.
After so many years being there, and you know,
Yeah, I understand.
and then, well, at one time too, I, you know, was involved in all these different things, and I didn't go strutting around saying, "Hey, look at me." And I overheard when Art Martin died, they had a little group of 5 that managed the station, and I overheard one of them say, "We're gonna, what was it, knock Evers down a peg or 2. Why?
I've never understood that mentality.
Yeah,
but it's there.
Yeah, and that was during the time, you know, we were building the arena and the fairgrounds and doing all these other things, and I was just doing my thing.
Mary Ann, what were you going to say there about?
Well, I was just going to say that there were a lot of fun experiences that I had at WMRN too. I was there about 5 years. I had a lengthy interview with Steve Allen on the telephone, obviously, and I had a regular car doctor, and people would call in and they would ask all kinds of problems about their cars. He was excellent. He was with the Auto Club. And then I had somebody who always talked about the plants and the gardening.
Bill Hutchman.
Bill Hutchman, he was a regular person. Of course, I had a psychic on.
Kate
Frayne
who
all
I
the time.
dusted off and
right.
put back on the air.
And then I was very, very fortunate because the management allowed me, I had written to apply to go to Israel. It was open to journalists, and it was B'nai B'rith, a Jewish thing, and I was one of 8 people in the country who was asked to go to Israel, and they allowed me to go to Israel, and I took some of my vacation time, but wow, was that ever an experience, because I had to wear my own flak jacket and was escorted by Israeli soldiers and stayed on a kibbutz and went to the Jewish legislature, I came back with tons of interviews.
I just let the audience know we're going to run a little over today.
Oh,
that's
I
okay.
talked
No,
too much.
because we got a little piece of footage we want to play that's going to put us a little over. But before we do that, the 2 names I want to mention: Joe Ione, who's still with us, who
Yes.
just turned 90 years old.
Yes.
And Joe, I obviously was not alive when he did the news back in the 60s, but I have heard the tapes. Joe was the newsman.
He was.
I have never heard anybody give the news like Joe Ione. He could have been Walter Cronkite or Ed Murrow. He had that timbre, that voice, and he was that sharp. Wasn't he, Charlie? You worked with him.
He was, yes.
And of course, Madge Guthrie, the only broadcaster from Marion to go in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame in Ohio. Dear friend of mine, and we all knew her. Charlie, you worked on Madge's show.
Years and years.
All your people. Now, for the first time, speaking of the Broadcasters Hall of Fame, this has never been shown on television. With permission of the Broadcasters Hall of Fame, the induction of Madge Cooper Guthrie, 2007, I inducted.
Scott Spears.
Hall of Fame.
Don't take up my time. I've only got 60 seconds. To induct Madge is such a dubious task for me that I've written a little something that I hope you'll enjoy, and I certainly hope that Madge will enjoy. Madge was born in Fairbury, Illinois in whatever. Age as a number does not matter because Madge will remain vibrant and young forever. Madge was an original, which can be said without doubt. She became a friend to everyone in the community, a true lady with clout. Barbara Walters, Diane Sawyer, and Katie Couric were nowhere to be found because Madge Cooper was on the air, paving the way for women, breaking new ground. She covered school openings and plane crashes, traveling near and far. During that process, she became something she's too modest to admit, and that is a star. She was one of the first to cover fashion before fashion became a trend, and Madge herself always is one of the best dressed, not a wrinkle to flatten or a seam to mend. Madge worked with Rod Serling, Joe Ione, and Dave Kaler, who are some of the best. Madge worked very hard, never taking a rest. Madge was on the air for over 5 decades, reporting the truth with no personal slant. She took on every task and assignment, never using the word can't. Everyone in this room owes a great debt to you, for we are all involved in broadcasting. It's who we are and what we do. Sticky paper. Now, Madge, it's time to take your place in the Radio Television Broadcasters Hall of Fame where you belong. In Ohio, we've had Dorothy Fulltime, Easter Straker, Ruth Lyons, and of course you, Madge. Your contributions have made broadcasting everywhere strong. You have done so much with your time to make the world a better place. You are my friend and my mentor, and I hope that will always be the case. This is not a period. You're still going strong. The party has just begun. It's just time to say, Madge Cooper, you're an amazing broadcaster and a huge talent. So I'll sum up your career with just 2 words, Madge. Well done. Well done. Now, before we meet Madge Cooper, let's take a look at Madge Cooper, then and now.
1490 WMRN Marion.
This is Madge Cooper with another capsule comment on fashion. These clothes caress the body as lightly as a baby's kiss. Where the lines are slim or rounded, there's no look of stress or strain. But it's also something you want to keep in the back of your mind when you go shopping this fall. Look first to the waistline. Almost never raised, seldom at the natural equation, all thanks to satin and light.
1490 WMRN.
It was back in 1957 that a young freshman in high school wandered from his father's merchant's booth over into a tent, where a radio station was broadcasting live shows from the fairgrounds. Station personnel were broadcasting local musical acts and grocery giveaway shows and trade and swap programs. Man, I thought that was cool. I said to myself, hey, I can do that. Well, it wasn't long after the local high school had a radio show, and we aired it on WMRN in Marion, Ohio, the same station that was broadcasting those live shows from the county fair. It was there that I met Madge Cooper, who gave me advice after I traveled down the road from Upper Sandusky, Ohio, with scripts in hand to record the shows. It was the beginning for me of almost 40 years in broadcasting. My start came with the woman we honor tonight, a woman who laid the groundwork and the value of local radio, painting pictures with words. She produced, covered, and broadcast local and national news events and shared information to the home folk in Marion. I, for one, Dave Kaler, say thank you, Madge Cooper, for setting the standards for hundreds of us who got our start when radio was more than just music. It was truly serving the public interest. Moreover, you were the torchbearer for the public interest of Marion, Ohio, and WMRN. Congratulations, Madge Cooper, on your long overdue induction into the Radio Television Broadcasters Hall of Fame of Ohio.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's new inductee for 2007, Madge Cooper.
Hall of Fame.
Now, is the mic all right? Yes, I guess it is. You know, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out whether I should admit to anybody here that I was 97 years old. That wasn't lately, was it? But I am, and I did not really intend to get here. And I'll tell you a secret. It's really not as bad as you think. For one thing, you get some perks. Some of them they give you, and some of them you just take. For example, you say, I don't have to, I'm 90. And some of them may complain, but unless it's a traffic ticket, most of them don't. I want to say just a little, and I only have 2 minutes because I've already used 1.5. I know. Radio, when I went in, and this was 11 months before Pearl Harbor, we could not play anything except what was in the public domain because we did not have an ASCAP license. Remember? There was a time when the radio broadcasters, there wasn't any television then, don't worry about that. The radio broadcasters and the ASCAP people, they were mostly musicians and a few authors, I guess. They had no license. In other words, we didn't have a license to play. We played everything in that public domain. And you know, we were a little surprised, but people got a little tired of having old On Top of Old Smoky. And This Is My Sunshine every hour of the day. It lasted. It was your ancestors did that. We got out of it, though. There were a lot of things happened in those days. We were a 250 daytimer. And, of course, we didn't have this license, but we did a lot of things with people just around the community. And they liked it, and we liked it. And it made money for our man, our boss, and so that worked okay. Just a word about our boss. We had two of them. The Mason brothers, there was Frank Mason, who was a vice president of NBC. And then he had a smaller little brother who was a print man. He was from Steel Magazine in Cleveland. And the two of them went together and had a radio station. Our first program director, Stanley Miller, was a Harvard-trained man. He was a page at NBC, and he scared us to death. I was hired as a writer. I was to write the farm hour. Did you ever try to write a farm hour? That didn't last too long because about then Frank Mason said, we need a woman's program. Audition match. I'll be back in 3 weeks. So at about that time, Stanley auditioned me. Frank came back. We called him Uncle Frank, but don't ever tell him we did that. And he said, what about the audition for match? And Stanley said, well, here it is. He listened to it. He said, it's all right, put her on the air. What's her name? Madge Cooper. That's all right, she could keep her own name. So we went on from there. There were lots of things happened in those days. There were good things happened in those days, too. Rod Serling did work at our station for about 9 months. He was one of the nicest people I have ever known in my whole life. He was nothing like Twilight Zone. I can't even imagine it coming out of his head. But it did. He lived with a widow lady down the street who boarded all of our announcers. And they told me afterward that every night you were here, Rod at the typewriter, punching away. About 11 o'clock at night, he ran out with his envelope, which was a script that he'd written, and that went up to the post office. And in a few days, it came back, but then he tried another one, and he did eventually make it. But he could write so much better than Twilight Zone. It's just too bad nobody got to know. I'm done with my time. 3 minutes? That's all I said I'd do. 3 minutes. Okay.
12 inductees that night, only standing ovation was Madge from Marion. Nobody liked Madge Cooper, Marianne, right or wrong.
Oh, terrible understatement of the century.
Oh my goodness. I swear we're going to let Shannon and Martha talk tomorrow. Come back on Tuesday. See you then.